And welcome to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Marcellus Wiley in the building right now.
Calm down.
Calm down?
Calm down.
Did you prepay your taxes? Because I look like the attorney. And Emmanuel Acho, what you over there doing?
My dog, it's just Monday. I'm just in the vest right now. We chilling.
Okay.
We chilling today.
New audition for the new Aquaman right here. Getting this started. Let's go to Dallas, y'all, where things just keep getting worse for the Cowboys. Already without Dak Prescott, and yesterday, Andy Dalton left the game with a concussion after a brutal hit by Washington linebacker John Bostic. Went bombastic on him. Cowboys scored only 3 points, and Ezekiel Elliott rushed for just 45 yards. Yuck. On the other side, the Dallas defense has now given up the most points through 7 games in team history. Acho, Cowboys season over?
The Cowboys season, Marcellus, it is over. And this isn't one of those, oh, my God, the sky is falling. One of these early on, week 1, week 2, or week 3 type of reactions. When I look at it, they're an undisciplined team. They're an unmotivated team. And to some degree, they're an untalented team. I say untalented because they're untalented at positions that really matter. Left tackle, defensive back, and quarterback. They're hamstrung because they have a ton of playmakers, but they don't have a quarterback to get the ball to all of these playmakers. So all of these playmakers are rendered useless on the outside. We talk about the Cowboys' talent, but the receivers can't pass the ball to themselves. So I say undisciplined, unmotivated, to a degree untalented. If you are either the worst or second worst team in the worst division in football, that does not bode well for your season. Before the game, head coach Mike McCarthy said, let's just win the division. Well, the Washington football team not only beat you, they embarrassed you. They took your manhood on national television, and we all were there to lie witness to it. The Cowboys season is indeed over. It's not hot take-ish, but it's your 2 wins. 2 wins versus 2 terrible teams, the Giants and the Atlanta Falcons. 2 wins in which by scoreboard and scoreboard alone did you win that game. It's not like you necessarily outperformed. It's not like you dominated. Now, can't take a win away from a football team. I know how hard it is to win a game in the NFL. It's hard to get one. Can't take it away from them, but I can qualify and quantify their performance in those 2 wins, the only 2 wins they have on the season. The Cowboys season is indeed over. Continue to play the games, go out there and see what players will continue to fight, because I didn't see much fight from anybody yesterday. But yes, bro, the season for the Cowboys is done.
No, you know it's not done. That's why you didn't have the same emphasis, the same emphatic response.
I wanted to start a little calm. We have a 2-hour show. We got a 2-hour show. I don't want to run out of gas on y'all like the Cowboys have been running out of gas.
Oh, really? Oh, now he wants to wake up. During your whole soliloquy, I didn't hear the same Acho.
Oh, man.
All right, so you want to come out calm. Well, I'm going to come out on fire.
Do that.
You know the season's not over. It's a relative experience in their division. Amazing, we're looking at a team right now that is the Dallas Cowboys, who are sitting there only a half a game out of first place. So when you say your season is over, you're not being literal, because we could still win this division. Don't we play the Philadelphia Eagles going forward a couple times? Yes, we do. So they can easily make up this distance. But let's talk about why there's a distance to make up in the first place. Dallas Cowboys, you said untalented. That's interesting, because this team was lauded as the most talented team, certainly in their division, maybe in the NFL for a second. However, like you said, the injuries have really taken its toll. And then you look at the situation in terms of discipline. I don't like that angle. And all these we're going to go deeper into. I don't like that angle, because when you look at a team, you say, are they disciplined or not? Typically, you look at their penalties and you say, are they one of the most penalized teams in the league? The Dallas Cowboys are tied for 5th. But let's look at the teams that are worse than the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, get your Google on, boy. You know who's the worst team in terms of penalties this year? Most penalized team? Arizona Cardinals. Oh, they look kind of good. Did they just beat an undefeated team? Yes, they did. You know who else is in the top 5 worse than the Dallas Cowboys? Buffalo Bills. They look pretty good. What about the Tampa Bay Bucs? Oh, so the correlation between discipline, penalties, and lack of coaching, I don't buy that, and I'm not buying it by the numbers this year. Let's look at this team as a team that is trying to figure itself out. One, there is no continuity in the coaching staff and what they have now at quarterback, or is now offensively. Let's just be real about that.
That's fair.
2, there's no continuity on the front line in terms of the offensive line because of all the injuries. And 3, they've lost their greatest leader. Not just on the field, Dak Prescott, who led them to the #1 offense, the #1 pass offense before he was injured. Let's talk about the fact that there's a void in this locker room. Let's talk about there's a void on the field, intangibles that Dak Prescott made up for both sides of the football, not just offensively and not just at the quarterback position. You add all that up, how can the season be over? Because we're still in striking distance at first place, and we're still the Dallas Cowboys figuring it out on the fly and not too far removed from being
They might be in striking distance, but to use the boxing reference, their jab does not have enough reach. The season is over, Marcellus, because they're not going to make the necessary coaching changes. They can't make the necessary coaching changes. There is a saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So rather than using these words, I can show you not just in picture form, but in video form. Your boy's headed to the big board. Because, Marcellus, they say, if a player doesn't learn from a player mistake, then it's a player issue. Okay. But if a player doesn't learn from another player's mistake, then it's a coaching issue. But let's look at it. Just yesterday, the Cowboys versus the Washington football team. What is really going on with the Cowboys? Up top, Trayvon Diggs is really in man-to-man versus Terry McLaurin. It's a cover 4, but it's really man-to-man. That safety, he's in man on the tight end. If you're in man, watch your man. If you're in man, what you can't do is watch the quarterback. Trayvon Diggs, why are you looking at the quarterback if you really have this dude man-to-man? It was at that moment that he knew that he was going to be on a Nacho highlight reel. Now, Trayvon Diggs made the mistake. I'm not just going to clown him. It's a coaching issue because what happened last week, when you see a pattern, Marcellus, that's how I start to know the players really got issues. It's cover 3. You got to be as deep as the deepest, as wide as the widest. Daryl Worley this time on Christian Kirk. Pattern, match, zone. He has him in man. Why are you staggered with your feet square? Open up and get ready to run. What's that mean? Trayvon Diggs on DeAndre Hopkins. He's already open, ready to run. Again, what did I tell you? Cover 3. Deep is the deepest, wide is the widest. Trayvon Diggs is deep. Safety's deep, but this dude not deep, nor is he wide enough, and the Cowboys get scored on again. If a player doesn't learn from his own mistake, player issue. If a player doesn't learn from a teammate's mistake, coaching issue. That's why I think Cowboys can't fix their issues.
Wow. Hey, way to point out what a lot of people are seeing right now, Acho, in terms of this team is lacking something in its structure. But I don't want to point at the coaches because I've been on the field too many times where the outsiders were pointing at our coaches and us on the inside were realizing it was the man in the mirror. Let me give you a little short synopsis of my playing career. I played for 6 different coaches. And when you talk about my coaches, I had a lot of losing seasons. I didn't play quarterback, so I didn't have that much impact on the team because if everybody was playing like I played, Super Bowl champions, right? Now, let me be serious about this. I had coaches by the name of Marv Levy, Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Riley, Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, and Jack Del Rio. Now, when people hear those names, they automatically start ranking who's the best coach, who's the worst coach. And I know who they're going to put up there at the top, Bill Parcells, Marty Schottenheimer, or Marv Levy. Of my 6 head coaches, 4 of them gave me L's, losing seasons. And you want to know those names? Marv Levy, Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Riley, Bill Parcells. You want to hear those seasons? 6-10, 6-10, 5-11, 4-12. Those 4 big names gave us the losing seasons. You know who gave me my winning seasons? Wade Phillips and Jack Del Rio, 12-4. All right, Jack, 11-5, 10-6. Those are the other guys. Here's my point.
What's your point?
My point is this. You went to the board, did a good job of pointing out how players were not in the right situation in terms of their discipline, mindset, or maybe even in scheme. But I want to sit there and push back and say, it's not so much that you're being out-coached. You're being outperformed. It's not so much you're being out-coached. You're being out-executed. We get on here all the time.
Yep.
And if we mess up, when we mess up, we can't look at our producers because a lot of times we're giving the right opportunity and the right platform to do the right thing. However, the discipline comes on the individual. It doesn't come on the collective, and it certainly doesn't come on the coach. Of all my errors and my losing seasons, I couldn't look outside, I had to look inside.
Here's my issue, and this is why I don't think the Cowboys can repair their current issues. It is because, Marcellus, there are 11 players on defense at one time.
Yeah.
If the players continue to not be coached to not make or fix a mistake that someone else makes, you're going to see 11 of the exact same mistakes. Hyperbole to a degree, sure, but there are 5 defensive backs on the field at a time. Are you going to give up 5 deep balls until you finally each figure out, let me learn from my mistake? To use your example of us coming up here on air, if you one day mess up a read, then the next day you might not mess it up. Because you messed it up. But if I don't realize, based on someone telling me, hey, Acho, learn from what Marcellus did, then I will make the same mistake. That's what we're seeing in Dallas. Yesterday, you give up another big ball, another X play. Trayvon Diggs isn't going to give up another deep pass again in the near future, more than likely. But you know who else might? The next corner, the next safety, the other safety, because the Cowboys coaches are not instilling what needs to be instilled. Marcellus, when I was in Philly, we had the number 2, number 1, and number 3 special teams the 3 years I was there.
All right.
My special teams coordinator at the beginning of every Monday, after the Sunday games, the beginning of Monday, we would look around the league, and he would show us the mistakes made by every special teams unit around the league. He might say, hey, guys, did you see this onside kick? Let's prepare for it. Did you see this bobbled snap on the field goal special teams unit? Let's prepare for it. Because we were going to learn from mistakes, not only that we made, but mistakes being made from around the league. The Cowboys defense, the Cowboys team, they're not even learning from the mistakes they're making within their own house. For that reason, I'm like, how can you salvage this?
Well, this is how you salvage it, is someone being accountable that has leadership on this roster. Someone that people believe in that can inspire others, because they lost that in Dak Prescott. Just the gap, just the disparity of this offense from what Dak Prescott was doing with this same offense versus what Andy Dalton was able not to do with this same offense proves it's not about the coaching, because they both had the same coach. It's about the talent. To show you that in literal livable form right now, because we're not going to see Dak anymore this season, what about Ezekiel Elliott? Interesting. He has 2 100-yard rushing games over his past 15 games. He's only played 7 with Mike McCarthy. So what about the other 8, Zeke? Oh, you going to blame another coach? Or are you going to start to realize what I'm saying? Look in the mirror. Or, not just me, Leighton Vander Esch said this, quote, has nothing to do with scheme, our issues. Acho, I've been on too many losing teams. I told you all the names. It's not about the scheme. It's not about, oh, if you're reinstilling or you're trying to create new habits or not. It's about these guys finally saying, no matter what I've been taught, I have to execute that. And they're not doing that consistently.
Let me say this. It's a combination. Anything in life is not 100% one thing and 0% another. Everybody typically has some fault to take ownership of. When I look at the Cowboys, the number one thing is injuries. That's the number one reason for me why their season is over and why they're in this position.
Dak.
No Dak, no La'el Collins, you're starting right tackle. No Tyron Smith, you're starting left tackle. Zach Martin gets hurt. So when I just look at offensively right there, number 1 is injuries.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm not going to say it's a scheme issue. Because scheme to me isn't synonymous with coaching. What do I mean? The play I showed Joel last week, getting beat on an 80-yard touchdown, that's cover 3. Their defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan, said high school defenses run that.
Yeah, that's
He's
real.
right. But just because a high school defense knows the scheme doesn't mean the players know how to execute the scheme.
I like that.
So Leighton Vander Esch is exactly right. You're exactly right. It's not a scheme issue. I'm not saying it's a scheme issue, but just because the scheme is adequate does not mean the execution is adequate. When I say the execution is inadequate, to me, I say that has to do with the coaching. Players need to take ownership, absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned how to play the game of football by watching highlights of Ray Lewis. My parents were born and raised in Nigeria. I taught myself how to play linebacker. My dad, football is a black and white circular ball that you kick. Soccer. That is what football is in Africa. So I had to teach myself how to play the position. So I say that to say, cornerbacks, y'all can do it yourself to a degree. But coaches, y'all getting paid too. Y'all could surely do more.
Yeah, but all that Ray Lewis film you can watch is only one Ray Lewis. Like, I can watch Bruce. Not only did I watch Bruce Smith film, I actually played with Bruce Smith. And then he would do a move, and I'd be like, that's about it. I can't go any farther than watching the film and making that actually happen on the field. My last thing is this. We know that there are a myriad of reasons, and I'm going to really highlight one that doesn't get enough attention between the ears in terms of confidence.
That's good.
And what I've learned about confidence is I break it down to a macro, big picture, and a micro, little picture. The macro to me usually says, do you deserve it? Like, you even put yourself in position to succeed, to win. Do you deserve it? Like, do you really believe in yourself? But then it goes deeper to the micro instances, every single play, every single day. Did you earn it? That's different than do you deserve it? Did you earn it? Did you get your proper rest? Did you really look at the playbook again? Did you really go out there and make sure that you know not only what you have to do, but those surrounding you? Those little details. And the difference between the guy who takes that seriously versus a guy who's just on the team trying to ride the wave is what we're seeing right now, unfortunately, in Dallas. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have a lot more on the Cowboys. We'll tell you if they've quit on Mike McCarthy. Woo, but first, Patriots are blown out at home Sunday. We'll tell you if Cam Newton can save their season. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's talk about Cam Newton, who continues to struggle. He threw 3 interceptions yesterday against the 49ers, and the Patriots lost their 3rd straight game. The blowout loss was a first at home in the Bill Belichick era in New England. Cam was pulled after his 3rd pick in the 3rd quarter for Jarrett Stidham, but Belichick says Cam is absolutely still the team starter. Absolutely, huh, Bill? All right, Marcellus, you talk to me, big bro. Can Cam Newton still salvage the Patriots season?
Yes, he can still salvage it. This is Cam Newton. Don't look like that. You forgot who Cam Newton is? You want a resume check? Last time did I check? Cam Newton, former MVP Cam Newton, early in this season, had Acho up here singing his praises. Early in this season.
That was a long time ago.
Not that long ago, but it was a long time ago in terms of taking care of the football. Can he salvage them? Yeah. Will he? I'm starting to look like you, Acho, right now. Like, come on, Cam. Let's just be real about this. 2-1 over their first 3 games. When they only had 3 turnovers combined. But now let's look at the last 3 games. 3 plus 10 total in those last 3 games, and that's why you're starting to see the issues. Coaches always preach it. You can boil down what a coach is going to say and make it so simplistic in terms of what's the points of emphasis. And the number 1 point of emphasis always is take care of the football. That's what they're not doing right now. You can look at other issues on their team. And it's interesting because Cam Newton is really in a no-win situation. Let's not forget he's trying to turn trash into treasure. Let's not forget what this team was supposed to be before Cam Newton came out there in the first few weeks and made us reimagine what this team is. So now they're in a situation, as I found myself in a lot of my contests, when I'm going against an inferior opponent, let's just say that. I knew, even though I was better than that individual, that the first quarter wasn't going to matter. He was going to come out and give me his best. He was going to come out and give me his business. But I had to win the war of attrition. 2nd, 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. To me, this is a microcosm of that. This is the same situation. Patriots came out fast, punched us, looked like, whoa, what are the Patriots? But now the issues, the lack of talent, the injuries, the COVID issues, the fact that they don't have enough weapons is starting to catch up to them. 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarter of this season, we're going to start to see the pass kind of look more like this.
Big bro, I don't know if Cam Newton has the ability to salvage this. If I'm a Patriots fan, I'm worried. And I'm worried because I'm looking at the picture, and what do I see? Our best receiver for the Patriots is a 34-year-old 5'10 dude. Our most dependable running back this season is a 30-year-old 5'10 dude. We just don't have dudes.
You don't like height?
I like ability.
Okay.
And when I look at the Patriots' best players right now, I'm like, there might be a lack of ability. Cam Newton, Marcellus, has 2 passing touchdowns and 7 picks. We would put other quarterbacks under the bench for that stat line. Think if Baker had 2 passing touchdowns, 7 picks, I would never speak his name again. Gardner Minshew, I'd be like, get him to the CFL.
Yeah.
Like, we would be crushing other quarterbacks. But Cam Newton, again, I'm biased, I'll be honest, I like Cam. It's hard for me to do that. But if I talk about my facts and I get rid of my feelings, I look at it like, how can Cam salvage this? It looks like irreparable. When you total a car, you know what it is, bruh. The damage is beyond the value of a car.
Salvage.
And it's unsalvageable, it's irreparable, that's why it is totaled. When I look at this Patriots offense, when I look at this Patriots team, the talent, I don't think is a point where you can actually grow that, at a point where that season can be saved. I think for Cam, bro, I'll say it like this. I heard a quote when I was playing for the Eagles. A guy came in, he gave a great speech, and he said, see a little, see a lot. See a lot, see nothing. Talking about life. If you see a little, you can see a lot. If you focus on just the narrow, you'll see it all. But if you try to see everything, you see nothing. I think about Cam Newton. Do a little, do a lot. Do a lot. do nothing well. They're asking Cam Newton to do too much. They're asking Cam Newton to do a lot. And since they're asking Cam to do a lot, he's actually not really doing anything well.
See, that's what's unfortunate about Cam Newton. I don't have bias. I like other guys more than some guys.
That's bias.
No. But then it goes away when them lights come on and y'all start watching. Like, damn about to. Except my Clippers. That's the only team I will not lie. I have some bias in terms of my takes. But this is why it doesn't even matter if you have bias or not. Look at Cam Newton, who made us think and invited us to the best party in the world. And we were like, what party is that? Oh, what, you know the party, right? It's in Foxborough. Where Tom Brady used to DJ? Now, yeah, but he ain't there, but the party's still banging. I'm telling you, Cam on the wheels are still. Cam's like, oh, okay. And you walk in there, you're like, yeah, okay. All right, it's early. People gonna start coming, though. I know they're gonna start coming. And then you look around, it's about 12:30. It's time to make a decision. You know that this party don't look like it's gonna pick up. It's time to dip. Because Cam made us think this was a good party. But in reality, he's just a good player on a really bad team, to the point that I have to go to this full screen and show you what Cam Newton is doing. You said do little and get a lot. Ooh, he ain't doing nothing. This isn't consecutive weeks in terms of games played for Cam Newton. I did not rig this. I did not take this out of sequence or out of order. This is Cam Newton's first game. Look at the passer rating, 100.7. Look at the second game, when everyone was like, moral victory, close loss, but a close win almost, 94. Look at it, the Raiders game, 73. Look at it, Broncos, when we really started to take notice. What's going on, Cam? I know it's post-COVID, but you all right? 51. And then look at it yesterday, 39.7. He's going the wrong way, and in part, I think it's more that this team is bringing him to the pack. There's not enough talent around, and Cam Newton, no matter how individually great he may be, is starting to suffer. Let's bring in now our Fox NFL analyst, Bucky Brooks.
Bucky!
Talk about it right now. Can Cam Newton still salvage the Patriots season?
Absolutely. Plenty of time to salvage the season. You guys are the panic brothers over there. Panicking too soon, Acho jumping off the ship, reading fortune cookies with all kinds of parables and fables that I can't follow along with. So, no, it's plenty of time. But here's what the problem is, and I will say this. Some of this falls on Cam Newton. He has to take care of the football. The number one thing you have to do before you win, you have to know how not to lose. And Cam Newton has to quit giving the ball away to the other team. 7 turnovers, 7 interceptions, too many turnovers. The other thing that the Patriots have to do is they have to get back to leaning into what your quarterback does really well. We saw the first week of the season. They ran Cam 15 times. He had success. They threw it 19 times. Most of those passes were play-action passes, which is what he does really well. When the Patriots and Cam Newton struggle, when they get into a drop-back football game, where Cam Newton drops back without the illusion of the play-action and has to throw it against the defense, that's something that Cam has never been good at. But the reason why the New England Patriots are having to abandon what they normally do on offense is because their defense isn't up to snuff. And we won't talk about all of the people that they lost. Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, and those guys. But this defense, which last year was number 1, they're now 17. And because the defense can't control the game, they can't run the ball and do what they want to do. If the Patriots are going to get back to doing what they do, and Cam Newton's going to solve it, they have to play complementary football. The same kind of complementary football they play with Tom Brady. When they do that, they win. When they don't do that, they fall apart.
The problem
is
It's a team issue, not just a Cam Newton
That's fair, Bucky, but the problem is complementary football, for those wondering, it's essentially, hey, offense, you pay the defense a compliment. Defense, you play special teams a compliment. Special teams, you pay the offense a compliment. And it's cyclical. Everything works together. The issue at hand, though, Bucky, is that the Patriots defense is saying, hey, offense, y'all look good. And the offense is not returning the compliment. The Patriots defense right now, they're 12th in scoring D, tied for the third in the NFL with most takeaways. Like, the defense is a top fringe, top 10 defense. You can look at total defense and say that they're ranked 17th.
Did you see them against the Niners?
Say it again.
Did you see them against the Niners?
Top defense I'm talking about the 6-game sample size that we have to draw from. I'm not just picking and choosing, Bucky, to taint my stats as you tried to do right there, sir. But here's what I'll also say, Bucky, is it's hard to play defense when you're turning the ball over now. So many people just want to look and say, hey, the defense isn't as good as they were last year. Obviously not. No Hightower, 3-time Pro Bowler. No Patrick Chung, I believe, 3-time Pro Bowler. They're obviously not as good. But Cam Newton, he's turning the ball over, Buck. So, sure, we can put some of it on the defense. But as I look at it, Patriot way. Let the other team lose the game, and then you win the game. Cam Newton's not even letting the other team lose the game because he's losing it first.
I mean, that's fair. He cannot turn the ball over. He turns the ball over. He has to find a soft spot on the bench to sit beside Bill Belichick and think about his issues. The one thing that we've seen from the Patriots for the last 20 years when they had Tom Brady did not turn the ball over. He was the ultimate game manager when it came to that part of the game. And so Cam Newton has to be careful with the ball. He can't give it away to the other team. They have to make sure that they are running the ball with Cam Newton being a primary runner. And then the defense has to step it up. I thought it was convenient that you use scoring defense. Oh, they're 12th in scoring defense. But they're 17th in total defense. They're giving up these yards. They're hemorrhaging yards. And I know we don't want to bring up the most recent game, even though we're talking about the 3 interceptions that happened in that game when – can you remember the running back for the 49ers that had a 100-yard game? Yeah. Have you ever heard of him before? No, I hadn't either. But he went for 100 yards. And so when everyone is out here just running through the Patriots defense, that's a problem. So Cam Newton needs to tighten up, but Bill Belichick has to tighten up the entire operation for the Patriots to get back on track.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bucky. I want to piggyback on both of those points in terms of Jeff Wilson going out there having 112 yards and 3 touchdowns before injury, or those numbers would be even greater, even grander. And it's the same Jeff Wilson who before that had only 105 rushing yards in the entire season last year. Come on, Patriots defense. You can't let a scrub come up off the streets and come out there and run up and down the field on you. Now, that said, let's talk about what the Patriot way really is and Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick realizing that the Patriots have lost their way in part because of these turnovers. Here are some glaring numbers, some stats on the Belichick Patriot way era. 19-29, so basically a 40% win percentage when they turn the ball over 3 times or more. That's actually damn good. You turn the ball over 3 or more times and still win 40% of your games. That's what the Patriots did yesterday. But they're still a losing team when turning the ball over that many times. But let's look at the numbers when they turn it over 2 times or fewer. 220 to 58. 80% of the times, the Patriots will find a way to win if they commit fewer than 2 turnovers. Cam Newton, as Acho tried to tell you, let's make this real simple on you, big dog. We don't need Super Cam. We don't need Wakanda forever. We just need you to hold on to that damn football, and Belichick will take care of it.
Here is the issue. We keep saying, hold on to the ball, hold on to the ball. You are who the film says you are. Since Cam Newton has come into the league, he's played over 14 games. He has 10 turnovers, 10 interceptions plus. So we might keep wishing and hoping that Cam starts turning it over. But what the film tells us is he probably won't. Coming up, Andy Dalton was knocked out of Sunday's game, and his teammates, they ain't do nothing about it. I'm going to tell you why I had a huge problem with that. That's next. Speak for yourself. Presented by Hyundai.
Tomorrow night is Game 6 of the World Series. Catch Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger as they lead the Dodgers against the Rays. All begins at 7:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Dodgers, 1 win away, baby, from the first World Series.
You almost called this.
In 32 years.
You said Dodgers in 5.
I said in 5. 6, I take it. I just take a championship thanks to Clayton Kershaw's brilliance. Also, what we saw in Game 5. Dodgers, please don't blow this 3-2 lead like my Clippers. Did I say all that? Finish these dudes off tomorrow so we can celebrate this championship. Let's go, L.A. All right, let's move on to Andy Dalton, who left Sunday's game in the 3rd quarter with a concussion after a brutal hit by Washington linebacker John Bostic.
My God.
John Bostic. The Cowboys got called out for not doing anything to Bostic after the play. Ezekiel Elliott said his initial reaction was, quote, just how bleak this year has been. And Mike McCarthy seemed surprised by the lack of reaction from his team. So, Acho, do you have a problem with Cowboys players not sticking up for Andy? Andy, remember? Friends to the end?
Bro.
This is the end, friend.
I don't even have words. That play ran me so hot. I use a figure, but I don't even know if y'all know what that means. Ran me hot. It frustrated me.
Okay.
That play made me sick. Marcellus, you don't have to have talent to have heart.
Oh.
You do not have to have talent to have heart. Cowboys offense. Receivers, y'all talented. Everybody else, some are questioning your talent. That's fine. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to question is your heart.
Ooh.
Your quarterback, Marcellus, we all know this. The quarterback is typically the weakest player on the team outside of specialty because they don't need to be strong.
Okay.
They don't need to be physically imposing.
Right.
They're going to be your leader emotionally. They're going to be your leader mentally, but physically, they can't fend for themselves. So fend for them. That's rule number one. It's rule number two. It's rule number three of football is defend, protect your quarterback. Marcellus, I equate this to
Let's go.
walking down the street with one of my elderly parents or an elderly loved one of mine and somebody pushing them on the ground and me not doing nothing. Like, that's what I equate that to.
Really?
The Washington Redskins, Marcellus, they walked into the Cowboys' house, they opened up their fridge, they ate their food, and they left. And the Cowboys players just sat there and twiddled their thumbs like this. It's sick. I was sick. I was sick. That's it.
You know what? I hate to be on the other side of this because I know where you're coming from, and I hate that.
Don't do this to
that I
yourself.
got to start to
Don't
beat
do
up
this
where
to
you
me,
ended
big
up
bro.
going.
Don't do this to me.
I love where you came from, but I hate it where you ended up going. You one of them cats that like symbolism, huh? You one of them cats that like, yo, if you're really down for me, big dog, you got my back, right? So then I got to be the friend that's obligated to fight for you just to show you I care for you. You actually measure heart by if I have your back, which I'm not that type of person. I always tell all my friends, and I've been saying this since I was a little kid, and they always thought it was weird. They still do today. I say, dog, don't have my back. Have my front. Make sure I can avoid situations. I don't need you to all of a sudden apply some little crippled mindset and culture that says, oh, if they get at you, big dog, we're going to get back at them. And I'm like, wait a minute. So that means they're going to get back at us again. And you didn't avoid the first time. If we go out there and scrap for Andy Dalton, is that going to make Andy Dalton slide sooner next time? If we go out there and scrap for Andy Dalton,
missing the point,
is that going to all of a sudden make the Dallas defense play better?
No.
Make the offense play better? No. You're a person that, as my coach used to always clown.
What'd he say?
He used to say, look, dog, if you got room for extra, that means you didn't do enough when you were supposed to. If you want to fight for me and I'm your teammate, whoop somebody's ass between the whistles, between the white lines. Extras gets no play in my ride.
No, sir, and no, sir. You coming at me, Marcellus, with all this logic, with all this Columbia, with all this intellectual education. I don't need that.
I don't fight either.
What I need right now is some emotions. Emotions don't always make sense. Straight up and down.
So you want the
emotions don't always make sense. Here's my thing, bro. Zeke tried to come out there and say, well, we're so decimated by injuries right now. What if we get kicked out the game? Y'all sorry. Okay, ain't nobody playing in that game really playing meaningful snaps anyway. So at least you could do is something meaningful for your quarterback. But Marcellus, let me give you an example, because 2013, Chris Baker, defensive lineman for the Washington Redskins at the time, now football team. He cheap shots our quarterback, Nick Foles. And I'm going to show you the response of the Eagles. Now, this was, but bang. Oh, I said, oh, my God, I'm on the bench. I'm chilling. I said, oh, Lord, not Nick. But let me show you what happens. You're going to see two dudes run on the field that weren't on the field. Trent Cole, a defensive player, and Riley Cooper. Trent Cole's buckling up his chin strap because he's like, okay, if we gonna scrap, we gonna scrap. Jason Peters, the left tackle for the Eagles, was like, you're not cheap shotting my quarterback. Now, I got up off the bench. I got up off the bench a little bit slower. And you're gonna see me right there highlighted.
Where the love at?
That's me checking on my dog, Nick. You feel me? I wasn't really throwing no hands, you know. I went to private school. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I wore a uniform, okay? I like to keep my face pretty. But I'm gonna say it like this, bro. When that happened, we all got up. We all went on to the field.
We all got up.
We all
got up.
Yes.
We all voted.
Because we gotta defend your quarterback. If you can't defend nobody else, you have to stand up for your quarterback.
You know what? Once again, I understand where you're coming from.
I need you to come on my side, Marcellus.
But it's senseless. You even admit it. It makes no sense to fight.
When I admit that, I didn't admit that.
You just said you said being emotional. Sometimes
it's not logical. That's fair.
I'm listening to see logic. Listen, emotions just go all over the place like you want these players to do. Dog, me and you, dog, we do something together. But guess what? There are no opponents out here. So Andy Dalton, you have to know every time you sign on to go on the field, there's some fine print. Hey, bruh. When you see a linebacker coming, don't try and get another inch.
He slid, Sal. He slid. No, run the tape. Run the tape.
I don't give a damn. How many times you show me the tape?
Run the tape. He
Whatever
slid,
that
bro.
is, a second before that. You know why? You think John Bostic out there trying to say, hey, Andy, how you been? Back up. Oh, my God, this is so good.
Slid. Let me ask you this, bro, because I got to find out what kind of guy you are. Bump the tape. Put us on a 2 shot. I got to find out what kind of guy he is.
I am a lover, not a fighter. That's who I am.
So me and you, we finished this show. We walking outside the street. We walking down, we walking to that hotel where you said the burgers were at.
Oh, we going to the Waldorf?
Yeah, we going to the Waldorf.
First of all, why we walking? I'm already sweating up here right now.
We walking to the Waldorf. All of a sudden, I get jumped. Okay, dude's on my neck. You just gonna sit there and look at me. You're not gonna come in.
No. First of all, where's my cell phone?
I don't want your cell phone.
First of all, you said dudes. Me and you.
6'4", 280, 290. I don't need your cell phone right now. I need them hands.
All of me needs to get all home for my family. I don't know what the hell you did. What if this is some old bitch that I ain't got no part of? And all of a sudden,
I'm ashamed of you right now, Sam.
I'm
ashamed of you.
I am not a fighter.
Andy Dalton didn't do anything. Bruh, before you step onto the field, the Cowboys, so many teams break the huddle. They
wore a different color.
They say this. They say 1, 2, 3, we're all we got. 4, 5, 6, we're all we need. If you're stepping onto the field and you know that you were all you got, and you know that you were all you need, you were on a road trip. You were playing in an opponent's house. All you have is the 53, I think now 63 on your squad. If you not gonna have my back, who is?
But hold on.
Who is?
I just think you're miscalculating what having your back is. Like, we can't use other examples because most other examples, you don't walk down the street literally looking at an opponent. Like, when we went to the Waldorf, I didn't know that they were against us until they start whooping your ass. And then I realized we got a problem.
Then
but
jump in.
when you jump on the field, you know the other team is trying to whoop your butt. So therefore, you're in a different disposition. 1. 2, when it's going down, Andy Dalton didn't do any wrong. I said that Andy Dalton should slide earlier because you know that's your protection mechanism. It's not worth the extra inch or extra yard. That said, even if all of that comes true, why in the hell now do I want to prove that I got your back by getting our butts whipped when the game is on the line?
Why?
But then go out there and show I got your back in some meaningless way that I don't have the other 60 minutes of the real football game. I don't need that fake love.
You see this picture?
Yeah.
Can the jib even get tighter? Like, do you see this?
I see
that is your quarterback laying there catching Z's without a pillow, without a blanket. All he has left is a flag to sleep on. And you just gonna sit there, Marcellus, and look at the man formerly known as the Red Rifle. This man catching Z's, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. If they cheap shotted you, you at least gotta show me to some degree. Please, Marcellus, just you gotta show me that you care.
Now, I'm gonna show you this, like old dog taught me in Minister Society. Hey, Sharif, he dead. He gone. We lost him. Let's move on to something bigger and something more meaningful and something we're supposed to do. We signed on to play football, bro. Drag they butts in the football game. Don't get beat down in the football game, but want to win the sideshow fight and then act like you done something.
You never, you had to have been in a fight on a football field.
Oh, yeah, training camp, like 2 or 3 times.
So why? So then why? If you were not willing to fight for this, then why were you fighting then?
You know what? I am a learned man. I am a man who has evolved from that ignorance I was caught up in that I never even started. I never jumped. You asked me, did I ever jump in a fight? Hell no. I am Lonzo Ball with the Lakers. Remember when they had a fight? He looked at him like, okay. I am Darren Waller with the Raiders yesterday. Waller looked at them dudes when they were trying to fight Tampa Bay and the Raiders. He was like, what the hell y'all fighting for? I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm there to win a game and to drag you and beat you down through my pads.
Bruh, I don't need you to start it. I need you to finish it.
You really think
feel
this
me?
way?
I don't need. It's not. It's code of conduct. Like even in my household, even in my household growing up, it's me and my older brother got 2 older sisters. It's like my parents. Like, hey, son, we don't condone fighting. But if anybody cross your brother, hey, you step to him. Same thing to my brother. Hey, if anybody messes with your brother, all you have is your family. In this life, all you have is your family. The Cowboys, that locker room, that is their family. That is all they have. If you are not going to stand up for your brother, Marcellus, who in God's name is going to stand up for you?
Because let's not act like we're brothers. Y'all blood, and this is trade deadline happened yet? We don't know who in the hell is your brother or not on this team.
I can't stand this man. I can't stand this one.
I just don't think it's analogous any other example. You literally are going out there and you're going into combat. And then someone crosses the line. clearly crosses the line. And then all of a sudden, since they crossed the line, we're supposed to be so ignorant to cross the line with him to prove a point across the line, but then have to return back to this form and actually get our butts whipped. If you really got my back, big dog, beat them in success. Don't beat them in just some excess on the side.
It's not just proving a point, it's setting a standard. Will Muschamp, he was my defensive coordinator in college. He's currently the head coach of South Carolina. He coached the Miami Dolphins with under Nick Saban. He coached a great linebacker by the name of Zach Thomas. You probably
Zach was a beast.
Great. Zach Thomas was a 34-year-old man in training camp. I'll tell you the story as Muschamp told me. The first day of training camp, this offensive lineman holds Zach Thomas. Zach Thomas starts throwing these haymakers. Will Muschamp and this all-pro Zach Thomas linebacker, they're walking to the locker room after practice, and Muschamp says, "Hey, Zach, why'd you fight him? You're a vet. This dude's like a rookie." He said, "If I fight him now, he'll remember if he tries to hit me again, he's going to have to fight me if he tries to hold me, he's going to have to fight me every time." If the Cowboys players, I don't condone fighting, but Marcellus, if you don't stand up for Andy Dalton then any defense is going to go up there and be like, we can take shots on whoever we want to take shots on and ain't no repercussions.
Man.
None at all.
There were repercussions.
The potential suspension?
Did Boston get kicked out of the game? Yes.
Okay.
With a potential fine. Like, first of all, you're not going to legislate more penalties than the NFL can in this situation. You ever fight somebody in an NFL uniform? You're losing by throwing punches. Helmet, ow. Oh, face mask, ow. Oh, I got a punch in. He didn't feel it. He had no pads. Dog, I don't need to win the image awards. Acho, when we go to the Waldorf, if we ever do, after we get out of quarantine.
If I get jumped and you don't do nothing, bro, I swear I'm coming to your house.
Hey. And if
I'm keying your car, all three Teslas Teslas will have keys in them. All the tires, Marcellus, will be slashed.
Just call the police for me, dog. That's all I need. Run, save yourself. I'm good. I'll be back. Make sure you call the police. Coming up, Tom Brady's Bucs are rolling and are about to get even stronger. We'll tell you if they can be stopped. Next, speak for yourself. Spooky edition. What the hell? Fighting everybody.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk about Tom Brady, who has adjusted just fine in Tampa. He rushed for a touchdown and threw for 4 more in the win against the Raiders. Brady also set the all-time record for passing touchdowns. His TDs went to 4 different receivers, and now he's about to get a 7-time Pro Bowler with the Bucs signing Antonio Brown. The rich get richer. So, Big Bro Sell, you let me know this. Can Tom Brady's Buccaneers be stopped?
Literally, yes, any team could be stopped. But this team has entered that rare space. And let's talk about that space where they can only stop themselves. And I like that about this team. I told you before, this whole offseason, whatever I've been saying, I am on the pirate ship. I am with the Buccaneers. And what have you been saying? It's not going to work out. You got your old man over there at the goat. It's not going to play well. Acho, if you look at this team right now with no continuity, think about it. They're all learning on the fly collectively. Tom Brady is in a new system, new situation, new location, new team, and playing like the old Tom Brady. I love this. So let me hit you with some of my Buccaneer shots, nuggets, Buck shots. You ready for this? In the past 5 games, he has 15 touchdown passes and 1 interception. Buck! Go Tom Brady. Let's talk about the Bucs. 2nd in the league in scoring margin. Only to the Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about tied for 4th in the league in turnover margin. Averaging the most that they ever have in their franchise history. 3rd best total defense, best run defense, 2nd in sacks. Acho, I don't understand it. You were on the wrong side of the fence for so long. Let's see if you're finally going to show some contrition and look me in the face, apologize, and then go forward finally on the pirate ship like me.
Sir, I will not apologize for assessing the information that is given to me at the time that it is given to me. Now,
you hiding.
Now that I got more information, I'm going to say this. I'm riding with you. I think the Bucs can be stopped, but it would be them stopping themselves. As I look at it, Bucs are doing this. Other teams in the NFL are sputtering. The Bucs are doing this. They're hitting their ceiling. Now, before we jump on this Buccaneers bandwagon, let's put things in perspective like we do with other quarterbacks and not have Tom Brady bias. Tom Brady against the 2 top defenses he's played, top 10 defenses, Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears. He has 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Tom Brady against the other 5 teams, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Let's put it in perspective, because later on in this segment, I'm going to clown Baker Mayfield for only beating the Bengals and not beating anybody else. So I also got to keep it a buck. Tom Brady, he's whooping everybody else. But when he sees top 10 defenses, what does he do? Now, the fact of the matter is, not everybody in the NFL is a top 10 defense. So he's having his way with everybody else. Tom Brady is on a tear right now. He's literally on a tear. Let's look at the year to go, because he's won 3 MVPs, and I want to show y'all how his MVP seasons stack up to this season. Through 7 games, his MVP season's on average 282 yards a game. This season, 273. MVP season on average through 7 games, 18 touchdowns. This season, 18 touchdowns, and you can see the passer rating there below. Tom Brady's killing it, but more importantly, the Bucs defense is killing it. Can they be stopped? I truly think that it would have to be them stopping themselves for the most part as it stands right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the Patriots way that Tom Brady has now taken with him. And in this transition, he's realized, I have to protect the football. I have to hold up my end of the bargain. And then I have to look at our defense. And our defense, you have to go out there and be stout. And that's what's happening right now. Imagine going to a new situation where expectations are absurd just because you have now relocated to the Tampa Bay Bucs. The Tampa Bay Bucs, which has the worst win percentage in sports history, now is a favorite to win the Super Bowl. You certainly have to put them on tier 1 in terms of consideration. We know the Chiefs are right there as well. You talk about Green Bay Packers. Yeah, you were saying that until you saw that loss that they took to this same team. Pittsburgh Steelers undefeated. You can imagine how that contest will look. But this is a team now, right now, halfway through the season, Nacho, that they look like they're figuring it out while they know that they haven't figured it out. So when they're still drawing it up and it's being processed and it's being realized and it's being executed at this rate, imagine at the end of the season when it's money time how they're going to perform.
Let's talk about then, Marcellus, the 2 ways, to me, the 2 biggest ways the Buccaneers can be stopped. Number 1, the addition of Antonio Brown.
Oh, don't do that.
No. Right now, they're rolling right now. So the only thing I think is...
roll more?
You can.
Oh, okay.
But let's talk about, that's the risk. The only way I'm saying is that's a risk. It's not a huge risk to me at this point because I think Tom Brady has our locker room in check. But that is one of the risks. The big risk to me is Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians hasn't been in this position before. Tom Brady clearly has. So when I think about Bruce Arians, he runs a very loose, fun, say what you mean, emotions on your sleeve type of organization. B.A. hasn't made it to the Super Bowl as a head coach, to my knowledge. I think the furthest he's gotten, NFC Championship game with the Cardinals when my brother was there, I think against the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if Bruce Arians is going to be ready for the bright lights, ready for the big moment. If there's anything that's going to stop this Buccaneers team, and I don't think there's a lot of things that can do it, if there's anything that's going to stop them, it would be a culture chemistry issue if Antonio Brown comes in and somehow messes with that. It would be Bruce Arians. Is Bruce Arians ready for the moment? And lastly, Tom Brady's never made the Super Bowl without a bye. Tom Brady balls against not top 10 defenses. When you get into the playoffs, there are going to be top 10 defenses looking you straight in the eye, Tom Brady. If you don't have that bye, you're going to have to win a game. Then you'll have to go to the wild card. You're going to have to win the first game. You're going to have to win a divisional game. You're going to have to win a championship game. Then you're going to have to get to the Super Bowl. You're going to see several top 10 defenses in those games. Can you do it against them?
Well, the difference in that example and using, obviously, the resume that he compiled as a New England Patriot in today's team, this team has more firepower. Just be real. Like, defense to defense, you may even say comparable there. Maybe Tampa's right there with them. But offensively, you're starting to look and you say, in general, this is more than he's had when he was the New England Patriot quarterback. So that may take you down a different path in terms of bring it on instead of like, okay, let's have that bye so we can have some cushion, some protection. I like Bruce Arians, 2-time coach of the year, that you don't always have to be in that moment to realize that you are ready for that moment, right? Like, there's a first time for everyone. And some guys in their first opportunities, they hit it. Tom Brady in his first opportunity. Remember, Drew Bledsoe was a $100 million quarterback. Gets knocked out, Tom Brady enters, and they're like, oh, what? Is he actually good? Oh, is he serviceable? Oh, is he allowing this team to succeed? Oh, they're winning. Oh, they just won a Super Bowl. first appearance. So the thing is, I'm not going to always grade someone since they haven't been there that they can't do it.
Do you like Bruce Arians to be able to lead this team to a Super Bowl? I think there's one thing, Marcellus, when you're winning, everything is fun. Everybody's having a good time. We haven't heard Bruce Arians call out Tom Brady in 3 or so weeks now because they have been winning.
They ball.
But remember, early on in the season, Tom Brady can't throw these picks. Tom Brady's fault on the 2 interceptions. Do you like Bruce Arians to be able to win this team a Super Bowl?
I do. You know why? Because they have a good cop, bad cop relationship that's already set up for success. And anybody that's going into any business practice knows you need to have that dynamic because you don't always want to be the guy that goes in there guns blazing and then have to return with some apple pie saying, how's everyone doing? And that's what they have right here. Let's look at this situation. Bruce Arians, 2-time coach of the year. Bruce Arians, the same offensive coordinator that was on the Steelers staff that won the Super Bowl. So he's been there. The man next to the man in that respect. But let's talk about how AB, you think it's an AB issue potentially. I look at it where Tom Brady wanted AB. Bruce Arians said, hell no, not on my watch. And they came to a healthy compromise. But when AB shows up in that locker room, he's going to know he's going to be embraced by his leader, but also he's going to be side-eyed by their head coach. That's going to keep him in line because he doesn't have everyone's support in terms of him being on the squad. Coming up in our big story, Cowboys blown out and are being called out. Woo, we'll tell you if they've quit on Mike McCarthy next. Speak for yourself. You're watching Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Marcellus Wiley here. Looking smooth. Man, you watch over there looking smooth there.
No, I'm still mad, bro. All them muscles and you wouldn't back me up in a fight.
Hell no. We're going to get back to that because I am not fighting for your... Let's head back to Dallas for our big story. Got kids, man. Some Cowboys called out Mike McCarthy and the coaching staff leading up to Sunday's game. Well, it didn't get any better on the field. They were blown out by a Washington team that had lost 5 straight. Dallas also lost Andy Dalton in the third quarter to a concussion, and Ezekiel Elliott only rushed for 45 yards. Cowboys now been outscored 63-13 in their last 2 games without Dak Prescott. Bucky Brooks is back in the building, but Acho, have the Cowboys quit on Mike McCarthy?
No, they haven't quit on Mike McCarthy. Because to say they've quit on Mike McCarthy is to imply that they were ever playing for Mike McCarthy.
Oh, my God.
And the Cowboys were never playing for Mike McCarthy. That's what you call journalistic jargon. It's just a figure of speech that is made up, but players don't actually play for coaches unless the coach is battling an illness of some sort or unless the coach is going to retire and is in his last game. The Cowboys were never playing for Mike McCarthy. You're playing for your family. You're playing for your reputation. You're playing for a new contract. But playing for your coach, what we gonna do that for? The roster turns over 33% each and every year. There's a likelihood that I won't even be playing for or with that coach in the following year. What's the real Cowboys issue is they might be losing their motivation. They might no longer have as much of a reason to play, but it's not the fact that they've quit on Mike McCarthy. Now I think they just realize who and what they are. They're no longer going out on the field expecting to dominate. They're no longer going out on the field expecting to win. They're going out on the field hoping to dominate. They're going out on the field hoping to win. Now, when you look at that, that might be translated into, oh, they quit on McCarthy. But players don't play for coaches, so they can't quit on coaches. I draw a similar parallel. If a defense gives up a lot of rushing yards, you might say, oh, that defense isn't tough. That defense isn't physical. No, maybe that defense was just in the wrong gap. Maybe that defense just didn't execute their assignments well. Sometimes we try to give things a title to cover up the reason as to why something is happening. The Cowboys are not quitting on Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys are poorly coached. The Cowboys lack talent at certain positions that are imperative to have talent to succeed. And the Cowboys lack motivation right now. It's not a matter of quitting on their head coach. It's a matter of quitting on themselves, if anything.
Oh, wow. No, they haven't quit on Mike McCarthy. Oh, it's a lot to get into here. You said a lot, big dog. But no, they're not quitting because it's the same thing when we have the conversation of tanking. Players are not tanking. Players are not quitting in this situation. What you may perceive as someone quitting is someone who's given effort without intention. Like, what are you trying to do? I see you out there doing stuff. We see all these Cowboy players running around trying to make plays. But what's the intent? Like Acho said, what's the motivation and what's the objective in every single play? You have to go out there and micro-define that if you're in a winning culture and if you're with a coach that is worth his salt. So I'm looking at this, why these players and this team hasn't quit, simply because they're too close to achieving their goals. How many wins do the Dallas Cowboys have? 2. How many wins does the division-leading Eagles have? 2. Guess what? We're right there. No matter what you can say about us, imagine this, and this happens a lot in our world, when everyone tries to tell you and kick you and push you down. Everyone in this world is piling on, it feels like. And then in reality, you look around, you're like, if that's all they got, if I just took their biggest punch and I'm still here, guess what? Now let's go from survival mode to thriving mode. And that's where I think the Cowboys are. First, they're trying to survive. They're trying to figure this out on the fly. New situation, new coach. They're just trying to figure it out and survive. But now, once you look at the Cowboys and they realize, hey, we still got to play the Eagles a couple times. We still have an opportunity to achieve our goals. They'll get into thrive mode.
Yeah, no, this is a situation where I can't say that they quit, because I don't know if they ever really started along the path of really believing in what Mike McCarthy was selling. I don't believe this team has set a culture, and I'm going to fault Mike McCarthy first, because here's what happens when you get fired. It's much like a breakup. When someone breaks up with you, you do a little self-reflection, and you wonder, how can I make myself better for the next opportunity when it comes to dating? Mike McCarthy was unceremoniously dumped by the Green Bay Packers.
Get out of
he
here.
self-reflected for a year, and he said, oh, everybody said all these things about me, so I need to change. I'm going to be the nicer guy. I'm going to make sure that I try and develop a relationship with the players. I may be a quote-unquote players coach. So maybe he didn't come hard on the players early and set a line that was established, because let's just go through the examples that we've seen of late. Andy Dalton got drilled in the face, and no one ran to his aid. No one ran to pick him up.
Shame.
No one took a shot at Bostic.
Shame.
Everyone just sat there and said, oh my God, I'm gonna do like Marcellus Wiley. I'm gonna pick up my cell phone and I'm gonna call somebody to come and make sure that they take care of the big bad bully.
Law-abiding citizen here.
I'm not going to take it into my own hand. Secondly, we heard Xavier Rose say, you can't expect me to give 100% effort on the field. I mean, that would be crazy for me to think that I'm going to run from one side of the field to the other side of the field. But on Sunday night, I saw DK Metcalf run 108 yards to track down Buda Baker when he didn't have to. He could have given up on the play, but because of the standard that they've created in Seattle, he ran it all the way out. And lo and behold, they made a stop because of it. But let's go to a couple weeks ago. Anonymous sources said, our coaches don't know what they're doing. We're unprepared. We're not ready. All of this. So, yes, the players are on their own thing. Really, I kind of liken this to singers and bands. There are a lot of players on the Cowboys that think they're Beyonce leaving Destiny's Child. They're out here as me players, not trying to be a part of the group. But what they don't know, you're not Beyonce. You're Michelle.
You're not even Kelly. You real with that one, Bucky. Marcellus, I gotta attack you because something you said is a little asinine. So you talked about the Cowboys. Yes, you, Marcellus.
You like to fight.
Yeah, man.
You gotta attack me.
You talk about the Cowboys still being stride for stride in the NFC East. The football team only has 2 wins. The Eagles only have 2 wins. I submit this, Marcellus. Things can have the same look, but be very, very, very different. You, sir, right now, you sitting in that gray suit. Oh, you look good in the gray suit. But if I was in a gray suit, Marcellus, we would both have on gray suits, okay? But one of us would look a lot better than the other. My point being, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the football team, sure, they all got 2 wins, but some teams look a whole lot better than the others. The Cowboys, I think, Marcellus, have truly just quit on the fact that, man, our goals aren't as attainable as they used to be. Remember, Mike McCarthy at the beginning of the season, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy at the beginning of last week, we're just trying to win the division. Let me take y'all back. 2010. We'd gone to the national championship at the University of Texas in 2009. We had played Alabama. 2010, Marcellus, we think we're about to go to another national championship. We get our first loss. Okay, we just got 1 loss. It's all good. We can still go to the ship. Second loss, we can still go to the ship. Third loss, okay, we can't go to the national championship. Let's just try to win our conference. Let's win the Big 12. Fourth loss, maybe we can still win the Big 12, maybe. Fifth loss, let's just try to go to a bowl game. Sixth loss, maybe we can go to a bowl game. By the 7th loss, Marcellus, we was like, what we still doing out here? That's where the Cowboys are. It's like, okay, early on, we can win a Super Bowl. We can win a Super Bowl 1-2. Okay, we can still probably, if things go well, maybe get a 1-3. It's not looking too good. Okay, 2-5, 2-4. Okay, we're just not as good as we think we are. That is why the Cowboys are out. The reality is starting to hit them.
It's amazing. It's amazing that I have to come up here so often and get out of my skin, out of my job occupation, out of my character, and just sit down and teach, and just sit down and drop wisdom, Wileyisms left and right. But I don't have a Wileyism for you right now. I got a summation of what you guys are doing in terms of not respecting what the Cowboys are going through. You know in life that most of your personality is actually shaped, you know, before the age of 3. They say 80+% personality. You already come out basically already formed, and then the rest happens in latter years. But let's just look at this situation, because you guys are in situations that my wife found herself in. Now, my wife finds me fully formed, at least looking ready for a moment in my late 30s, right? And my wife finds out that as much as this looks good in this gray suit, there are some issues that come with being with me. There are some issues that come along with being with her as well. But how does that pertain to the Cowboys? Because y'all the ones complaining about what you got right now and blaming it on Mike McCarthy, when I just want to push back and say, who raised these kids? Who raised these dudes? Who was the one that let these guys become the guy that now we have to clean up and dust off a little bit just to get the most out of them? Who in the hell raised Ezekiel Elliott in the NFL? Forget it. His football career. It ain't on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's watching a guy, he inherited that. He thought Zeke looked good in the gray suit. He thought Zeke was the person I should stay committed to. And then in his last 15 games, only 2 over 100 yards. And Mike McCarthy, like, let me do the math. I haven't been here for 15 games. So what the hell is wrong with Ezekiel Elliott? Oh, no, let me get Dak Prescott. He looks great in that suit. Oh, I married Dak. Oh, he sounds good. He says all the right thing. He leads all of the men. Let's go. Oh, Dak can't even show up for the ceremony, and when he does, he only get a few words out and did tap out because he got injured. You look at this team right now, it's not even what Mike McCarthy was sold to coach. So now y'all gonna blame him when he just walked into a situation expecting more, getting less, and it's still on the same pace as the division leading team.
Mike McCarthy's job interview was a sleepover. He said, Jerry, do you want me to wear my onesie? Do you want me to wear my onesie?
Like
That's how Mike McCarthy auditioned for his job. Don't tell me about whether or not Mike McCarthy got what he thought he was signing up for. No, he didn't know what he was signing up for.
Who else lost their starting quarterback in the league? Go!
Bucky, check this man, bro. Bucky, check.
Okay, so I'm really it's incredulous that Marcellus is taking this take about Mike McCarthy can't do anything. He just inherited this squad, and he's just supposed to coach him like he coaches him. He is in a leadership position. His job as the leader is to establish the standards and the expectations of the culture of the locker room. And so when he did Xavier Woods and the rest of the team a favor, when everyone on the outside said, man, these dudes aren't hustling, they're not running to the ball. He was like, no. I don't have a problem with the effort. He is letting them get away with the poor behavior. So now you can't go back and rectify the behavior.
Bucky and Mike McCarthy raising some punks. I've never seen a household of the Dallas Cowboys full of punks. You let somebody come in, smack your quarterback on top of his head, send him to sleep, night. Send him to sleep, and you ain't do nothing about it. Bucky, you wasn't even here, bro. The Cowboys let the football team walk into their house, open up their fridge, drink their Kool-Aid, eat their potato salad, and the Cowboys were just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do on they watch. That's Mike McCarthy, bro. That's Mike McCarthy's culture, Marcellus.
No. Absolutely. And Marcellus, look, I understand it. I know, like, the Columbia education and all of that. You talked about how you would let Acho walk down the street beside you and get mollywopped, and you would call the cops. But I come from a different place. I come from a place where my dad would put me on the corner each and every time. If I got whooped, guess what you're doing the next day? You're going back to the corner, and you're going to have to line up. You're going to have to take this L again, or you're going to eventually come to get a win, and then you can walk back in the door. So Mike McCarthy is allowing his guys to just get beat down, and he's not holding them accountable. At some point, you have to hold the guys accountable. You got to hold them accountable for the effort, for the execution, and everything. But I'm not going to absolve the players, the coaches too. He has to hold everybody. And how long are we going to wait for Mike McCarthy to call all these guys on the carpet? He needs to bring them in. He needs to hit the reset button and hold them accountable to the standard, a championship standard that they want to set in Dallas. Until he does that, they're always going to fall short of the line.
Okay, here we go. Have a little fun with this. Rhetorical question, but if you feel like you want to answer, you better hurry up and jump in. Would you rather be A, in a great division but 2 games behind the leader and in 3rd place, or B, oh, we're in 3rd place, but we're only a half a game behind in a sorry division? Most people would take B, right? Why would you take B? Because that's the Dallas Cowboys. What is A? The Cleveland Browns. Everyone up here is talking about how good the Cleveland Browns look right now. Acho is going to go there. Oh, my God, the Browns and Baker Mayfield looking good, whatever you want to call it. They're in a worse, in terms of competition, a worse situation, a better division. They're 2 games behind, but because of likability or whatever may be the element, everyone's talking great about them and trying to pull them up. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are in a better situation in terms of making the playoffs, and everyone's trying to pull them down. I digress. Let's talk about where I come from, Bucky.
Where you come from?
Want to talk about where you from? Y'all got to go back to the corner and scrap.
Get ready to scrap,
okay?
Get ready to scrap.
919.
Okay.
919.
All right, where I'm from, look, I will go back to that corner and I will be on the lookout, and then I'll tell my uncles, there they go, handle that. And my uncles will handle the business. Meanwhile, I could be the law-abiding citizen I am in my protected space so I can earn for my family. Yeah. So here's how this situation plays out. Y'all want to go out there and talk about the Cowboys losing, in their last 2 games, 63-13. Oh, my God, the sky is falling. Meanwhile, when we see the Browns and who they have to beat to get to a first-place standing in their division, they lost to those 2 teams 76-13. Y'all can't make this make sense. I don't need somebody who is smarter than me in the class, so he's whipping my butt in terms of grades and performance. And then when we walk out the class, he wants to have a fight in the hallway as well. I need to beat you where it matters most, not in some insignificant way that y'all want to act up and pop up.
Get him,
like
Buck.
It means something.
Get him, Buck.
So lucky, Marcellus. I'm going to say this quickly because I'm going through the college admission process with my son, and we talk about GPAs and SATs giving you options. The higher the GPA, the higher the SAT, the more options you have. So what you want is you just want the baller. You just want the dude who has 1 lottery ticket. I got to get the scholarship. I can't go to college. I prefer mine to have options. I want the Cowboys to have options.
Oh, and they got options, and they got leadership as well. It's just not going to come in the form of on the field with Dak Prescott because he's gone. They have somebody who's been through this situation. Talk about where you from, Bucky. Talk about where I'm from, Bucky. Let's talk about where Mike McCarthy from when he walked on the block the first time. I'm the new head coach of the Green Bay Packers. They say, hey, your team is 4-12, homie. Good luck, homie. He went out there 8-8, and then he said, oh, that ain't good enough for you next year? 13-3 NFC Championship game. Then he wins the Super Bowl a couple years later. Y'all want to leave that process and jump ship right now just because you don't like how it's feeling right now? Y'all ain't from where I'm from. It don't matter how they looks. It don't matter the circumstances. I am not a product of my environment. I produce for my environment, homie. Coming up. I'm stupid. Beckham to you. It's out for the year. We'll tell you if Baker Mayfield can carry the Browns. Next, for yourself presented by Hyundai.
I can't stand you.
Man, y'all better stop.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to Cleveland, where Baker Mayfield had a rough start, then was on fire with 21 straight completions. Baker finished with a career-high 5 touchdown passes and a comeback win against the Bengals, but they also had a big loss. Odell Beckham Jr. tore his ACL in his left knee in the first quarter and is out for the remainder of the season. Bucky is back with us, but Marcellus. Can Baker Mayfield carry the Browns the rest of this season?
No, he can't carry the Browns going forward because he's not trustworthy in that leadership position. This is not even a conversation so much about production and X's and O's. It's about the I's and the U's. Who are you as a person? Let's talk about Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield runs hot. That's the gift and the curse of who Baker Mayfield is. Even in this same game that we're talking about right now, where he has 5 touchdown passes and comes back and wins this game. In that same game, let's not forget about that first quarter. which in consecutive games, he starts the game off at first pass, another interception. Goes 0 for 5 in that same first quarter. So I want to talk about why he runs hot and what that means in terms of leadership and what it means for this team. You get 3 quarters of hot Baker, you get 1 quarter of bad Baker. Let's extract this and take it to a bigger example of who Baker Mayfield is in terms of his success and his misses. Baker Mayfield, full screen time, is a guy that, let's just say, likes to bingo feed. And if you look at Baker Mayfield in these 8 examples that I picked, which were his top 8 NFL games, you will quickly notice that half of those top 8 games are against the Bengals. And then you will sit there and try to wonder in the glossary of your mind, those other 4 teams, how good they were. Well, let me tell you, Falcons, 7-9. Panthers, 7-9. Dolphins, 3-13, and the Washington team, 2 wins. Take that away. What I'm saying about Baker Mayfield is no matter how well he plays, until he plays consistently and consistently excellent, this will not be a quarterback or a person that you can trust on in a leadership role. I need to see more of yesterday consistently and over the course of 4 quarters before I say put a team on his back.
That's fair. What I will say first and foremost is Baker balled yesterday. Kudos to Baker.
True.
Straight up and down, because we're quick to criticize Baker. So, Baker, you went out there and you shut a lot of people up, myself included. Had to delete a tweet because of how well he played. Y'all weren't going to catch me looking stupid.
In the inbox.
Ain't no old takes exposed out here. No, sir. Now, with that being said, we also must call a spade a spade. Baker 5-1 versus the Bengals and 12-18 versus everybody else.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield 17 touchdowns, 7 picks against the Bengals, 47-35 versus everybody else as far as touchdowns to interceptions. You can see it right there. Baker Mayfield, he picks and chooses who he wants to ball against. And he don't really pick and choose. They pick and choose him. The Bengals were the 30th worst pass defense. Are we really going to laud and applaud Baker Mayfield for doing what he was supposed to do? That's the problem. Baker's almost in a lose-lose situation until he starts to put together and string together consecutive quality performances. But Baker hasn't had 2 back-to-back games of 250-plus passing yards in his last 21 games.
Man.
The crux of the argument is very simple. Baker Mayfield balls against bad teams, but not against good or great teams. I'll leave it with this on my first lap. After watching that game yesterday, Baker Mayfield versus Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield had 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception. I'm still not convinced that Baker Mayfield is any better than the 3rd or even the worst best quarterback in the AFC North. I watched that game. I still say Big Ben, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and then Baker. Can Baker lead the Browns if he's not even one of the top 3 quarterbacks, or if he is the worst quarterback in his own division? That's hard for me to say.
Look, man, it's hard to dispute it. I will say this. He balled out yesterday, and you're right. He is the Tiger King. He wears out the Cincinnati Bengals. For whatever reason, he's very comfortable and confident. Their scheme that they play works for him, and he picked them apart. I think the big thing that we're going to see from Baker here is we already hear what the streets on Twitter are talking about. Hey, Baker Mayfield is better without OBJ. Look at the numbers. The numbers say that, hey, he's a much better player. He's a distributor. Here's what happens when you lose OBJ in the middle of a game. It is too late for the defense to be able to adjust.
Talk about
It's too late for them to set their game plan for how to defend this offense. What we will see, if Baker is real, it will show up in the next 4 to 5 weeks without OBJ. Because now when you don't have OBJ on the field, you now can make the Browns play in a phone booth because there's not a field stretcher on that offense. Jarvis Landry doesn't have the speed to take it deep. They have 2 tight ends, but they're not deep, big play players. They have the running game. But now Baker Mayfield is going to have to play in the phone booth. And is he good enough to pick people apart in tight windows playing in that phone booth? We will see. But my eyes tell me I don't think he's going to be able to do it consistently if they put it all on him.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like the whole Cincinnati in contrast versus other teams that he plays against, and you can see that disparity. Cincy, the same team that's won 7 of their last 40 games, is the team that you want to feed off of. Not a problem. Hey, we all got a bottom feed, but you also got to do something else for us to have confidence in you as the quarterback that can carry a team. So what did Baker Mayfield do yesterday? He balled out. Let me be the third one, the third amigo up here saying, oh, Baker Mayfield balled out. Emily told us he was going to ball out. She said it took time, and it did take time. Go, Emily. But now We have to summarize what happened yesterday. Baker Mayfield outdueled a rookie quarterback.
Arguably.
Who lost, arguably.
Yeah.
Well, he won the game, so I say he outdueled him.
Fair.
Who lost 3 of his starting linemen during the game, who also is on a team that only has 1 win, that also was playing that same game without their best player in Joe Mixon. Good Lord, what the hell? So where's this confidence coming from, y'all? I just can't see it. This is a situation where there are just too many trying moments of how Baker Mayfield doesn't always play up to that standard, to that ability of being that hot. So when he's hot, okay, I'm starting to trust you. But when you're not, that's when coaches have to scratch their head because you're not reliable. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield the week before what we saw yesterday. What was that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers? By the rating, it was the 3rd worst game by a quarterback this year. Maybe now 4th because Cam Newton yesterday, good Lord, he might have to put himself in that conversation as well. But 3rd worst to yesterday's performance. Which one are you, Baker? Hot or cold?
And the issue, Marcellus, with Baker is the problems are cyclical. Baker starts talking, so we tell him to be quiet. He tells us he doesn't care. Then he goes out there and balls. Then he starts talking again, so we tell him to be quiet. Right. He tells us he doesn't care. Then he goes out there and balls. Then he starts talking again. Then he plays bad. Then we tell him to be quiet. It's cyclical. Baker Mayfield just has to figure out how to bottle this up. We talk about, is it just going to be a flash in the pan? Can Baker bottle up this success? I'm not convinced he can bottle up this success. Now, if he's ever going to, the next 2 opponents are good teams to try to do it against. You got the Raiders, you got the Texans, both of which are bottom tier in pass defense. Baker, this is the time for you to get on a hot streak. But if I don't see Baker stack up 250-yard passing games over the next 2 games, I don't think I'll see it this season.
You know, here's the thing. I don't think we can judge Baker off of the 250 number that you want to utilize, because if he has 250, 300 yards, the Browns are wrong in terms of how they play. The Browns are at their best when they keep Baker Mayfield on a very tight pitch count. 25 passes, maybe close to 30, but you don't want him to throw more than that. You want this team to run the football. Big offensive line, moving people, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb when he's healthy, those guys running the rock. That is their recipe for success because the defense is playing well. If the Browns make the mistake and think that Baker Mayfield can throw them into the playoffs and throw them into the division lead, they're sorely mistaken. We have too much evidence. The sample size is too big. Seeing them try to play that way and fail, they need to continue to monitor him, keep him on the pitch count, let the other parts of the team guide the team to the playoffs. Let him just be the trailer that he is, because he's not a truck. He can't pull this team off.
Oh, not a trailer, Buggy. Well, Baker, you had us singing your praises today. We'll see what it's like next week. Coming up, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady were both on another level yesterday, but I'm going to tell you why Aaron Rodgers has still been more impressive this season. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers both showed Sunday why the Hall of Fame is in their futures. Brady had 5 total touchdowns in the Bucs blowout win against the Raiders, while Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in the Packers win over the Texans. Brady's Bucs did blow out Rodgers and the Packers when they went head-to-head last week, Acho. So which quarterback has been more impressive this season, Brady or Rodgers?
I love Marcellus, and so many people, they suffer again like you from recency bias. Oh, my God, Tom Brady, 5 collective touchdowns yesterday. The best thing we've ever seen since sliced bread. No, chill out. Tom Brady's balling. He is definitely balling. Aaron Rodgers is playing better and being more impressive. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is doing more with less. Now, I hate having to compare greats to greatest or great to even greater. Tom Brady's balling. There's no doubt about that. That's not debatable. But if you're going to ask me who's been more impressive, it is the man that has 1 less touchdown, 2 fewer interceptions, and 1 less game with significantly less weapons. Again, let's look at the comparison. We got the best of the best. Let's look at it real quick. Let me just show you a couple numbers. We got the full screen. It's not going to change it because it's still a tight race. But Aaron Rodgers, more passing yards a game, more yards per attempt, more touchdowns a game, a better passer rating. Statistically, any number you can quantify, any metric that you can use to look at, Aaron Rodgers has been more impressive. Now, let's not talk about metrics.
Yeah, please.
Tom Brady has Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski. Who does Aaron Rodgers have? Just one Devontae Adams and a bunch of other receivers whose names you can't pronounce. So don't sit here and even try to say that from a talent perspective it is comparable. Aaron Rodgers is doing more. He's doing it with less. Therefore, Aaron Rodgers, to me, has been more impressive, though Tom Brady has been balling.
You know you're on the wrong side of this one, as the people on Twitter say when they don't agree with your opinion. You're on the wrong side of history.
So they call me a clown. They just saying clown emojis when they don't agree. I just clown.
Yeah, that's so funny, boy. I wish I had an emoji to put on your face right now. The hell is he talking about? We know it's Tom Brady. Didn't they just play?
They did.
I had that in the read. I said that earlier. So you obviously were preparing your notes and not listening. You know, your ears were closed. 38, Brady. Rodgers, 10. 10?
The Bucs have a good defense. What's your point? They have a great defense.
Right, and they got a better quarterback. Here's the thing about it. I want to use your example against you after I clearly state the facts that there's no continuity in Tampa Bay, but still Brady is balling out of control. New system, new coach, insane expectations. You're supposed to win the Super Bowl because you got the GOAT there, but it's the same old Tom Brady. And now let's compare him to an Aaron Rodgers. And Acho just cooked the words, not the books.
I'm about to say, I ain't cooked no books this time now, Coach.
Hey, in this stew, there's words and there's numbers. And you put a gang of words in it, the whole alphabet up in that sucker. Let's talk about the alphabet soup he wants us to eat. Oh, he says, well, because Aaron Rodgers is doing more with less.
More with less.
More with less, huh? Mm-hmm. So there's no absolute in your world. It's only relative. Hey, more with less, then guess what? You're better than someone else. Takes me back to our beginnings, our origins. Where are you from, Acho?
Born and raised, Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. I'm from Los Angeles, California, okay? So it's interesting. I could have more money here, and you won't look at it in an absolute sense because you're from Dallas, Texas. What do they call Dallas, Texas? I lived in Dallas. I know what they call it. It's the land of 30,000 millionaires.
$30,000 millionaires.
$30,000 millionaires. You know why? Because, hey, we may have less, but we're doing more with it. You're trying to sell me that argument because you're from Dallas. Oh, you know what? We are doing more with less. I have a nice car and a mansion like you do in L.A. Yeah, but I actually have more than you. I'm Tom Brady in L.A. You're Aaron Rodgers in Dallas trying to tell me you're richer than who I am. That is a poor example. We have to, when we do comparisons, keep it absolute. We can't get into these relative situations where Acho grows up thinking he's richer than me just because he out there in the land of $30,000 millionaires. Where your money at, where your game at, and where your numbers at, like Tom Brady?
First off, Marcellus, you signed 3 NFL contracts. There is no time soon that I will think that I have more money than you. Was it 4? My dog signed 4 NFL contracts. I'll just sign 4 practice squad contracts. I'm not about to play with you. Secondly, get your slogans right. They call them $30,000 millionaires because they only have $30,000, but they try to stunt like they're millionaires.
I know.
It's not like the $30,000 can be stretched.
That's what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers trying to stunt like he's Tom Brady. He's not with less stats.
The difference is this, bro. The difference is this. Stunting means you ain't really got it.
He ain't got it. They played each other.
Stunting means you ain't really got it.
They both went to the club last week together. And Tom Brady had 38 bottles. Aaron Rodgers got 10. And nobody at the table with him.
I'm not messing with you because here's what you're doing. You're using Tom Brady's goons, his defense, to fight his battles for him. Tom Brady's goons rolled up on Aaron Rodgers and they said, what?
What'd it do?
Exactly.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers ain't got them same goons. That's not his fault. Okay. Aaron Rodgers' defense is bottom 5 as far as yards they allow per game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers' defense is top 2 as far as most statistical metrics and categories.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, when they went head-to-head, Tom Brady won that battle. But when they go against everybody else, Aaron Rodgers is winning that battle. 2 interceptions to Tom Brady's 4. He also has only 1 less touchdown in less games played. It's really not even an argument. I understand that you're masked by Tom Brady's greatness, greatest of all time, winningest quarterback of all time. But can we talk about the now and the present?
Okay, let's talk about the now. The 15 touchdown passes and only 1 interception in the last five games. Tom Brady. Let's talk about the now. Who is second in passing touchdowns in NFL and is not second to Aaron Rodgers? It's Tom Brady second.
There's a bye week. He cooking the books, ladies and gentlemen.
I got some words cooking the books a little bit. Coming up, the Steelers are the only undefeated team in the NFL. We'll tell you if they're a legit threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. Next, speak for yourself. A little cooking.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. It's time to put some respect on the Steelers. They're the only undefeated team left after beating the Titans Sunday. Pittsburgh is off to their best start in 40 years behind Big Ben's comeback season and a defense that leads the NFL over averaging over 4 sacks a game. So, Big Bro Cell,
Yes?
are the Steelers a legit threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in that AFC?
Threat to the Chiefs, threat to the entire NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming because of their mental makeup. This is a team that, despite losing its franchise quarterback last year, actually inspired not only us on the outside saying they have a nice roster, but more importantly, they inspired themselves saying if we get Big Ben back and play up to our standards internally, we could do something special. And who are they following? Because you just said behind Big Ben's return. It's really Mike Tomlin and who he is as a coach. We're talking about Mike Tomlin, never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin, who keeps this thing consistent no matter what you're talking about in terms of their ability. I look at this defense, and this is a good defense. How good? Total defense, they're number one. And versus the Chiefs, who are still mid-pack, around 18, it says. You look at this defense on top of the weapons they have in the offensive passing game, on top of the fact that James Conner is a good running back, on top of the fact that Big Ben is a franchise quarterback. Where are you going to find the issues with this team? I'm not making this a Steelers versus Chiefs conversation. I'm saying Steelers versus the world. Bring them on.
That's legit. Give some respect to the Steelers because they deserve it. Think about this. The Steelers were 8-8 last year without Hall of Fame quarterback Big Ben.
Yeah.
How you've seen teams lose their quarterback and fall apart. Dallas Cowboys, the Chargers, although Tyrod was probably going to get benched by the middle of the season anyway. But, we've seen teams lose a quarterback and fall apart. The Steelers last year lost their quarterback and were still on the verge of making the playoffs. Add Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger to that mix, and I think they are top 3 in the NFL as far as best teams. Threat to the Chiefs, threat to the Seahawks, threat to the Cardinals, threat to anybody you want to put in that conversation, including the Ravens. Here's what I think about Marcellus. As a defense, you go into a game with 3 primary goals. Don't give up any X plays. Don't give up any big plays. Stop the run and force 3 turnovers. That was usually what the coach would tell us. The Tennessee Titans yesterday did that. They forced 3 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet still lost the game. That tells me that the Steelers were not only better than the undefeated Titans, they were so much better than the Titans that even though the Titans forced turnovers, they still didn't beat the Steelers, still couldn't beat the Steelers. Obviously, that late field goal that did not help that the Titans missed. So when I look at it, Steelers are legit. Steelers are dogs. Great quarterback. Great head coach. No egos. No egos.
No egos.
That's huge.
No egos.
Besides a quarterback. Besides a quarterback.
Oh, we ain't gonna get to the
quarterback
Big Ben
can have an ego.
conversation. Oh, boy. Oh, that Antonio Brown, Big Ben situation is still looming somewhere in there, as we talked about a week or so ago about Big Ben kind of taking an indirect shot. That said, everyone's going to focus on the top defense, and you should. But you should also look at the fact that this is the 6th-ranked scoring offense. Best scoring offense that they've had historically at this time right now, if they could continue this pace. So not only do we see somebody out there with firepower, but a balancing act in terms of what the defense can do in respect to what the offense can do. Then you have a Super Bowl championship coach. I know it was a while ago, but he's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. You have a franchise quarterback who's a Super Bowl champion. And then you have, as you said, everyone else surrounding pieces, productive, without the same level of ego. That usually gets in the way when you have this amount of talent. So I think they could do it.
When I think about the Steelers, they have every piece that you need to go far in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. Like you said, you have the coach who's been there before. You have a quarterback who's been there before. You have a defense. They say offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. You have a defense that's number 1 in total defense. You have several playmakers. You have a great starting running back. You also have a good backup running back in Benny Snell. Then you have a plethora of wide receivers. Chase Claypool, how about that rookie coming on? Juju Smith-Schuster actually doing best what he does best, a number 2 receiver. Not having to be a number 1. I love him not having to be a number 1. Let Chase Claypool, 6'4", 238, run the 4.4. Let him attract the attention, and Juju eat off that. The Steelers are legit. They proved to us they are legit. They're going to make noise deep into the playoffs. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy joins us with his own opinion on the Cowboys for not sticking up for Andy Dalton. You do not want to miss this. What up, Unc? That's next. Speak for yourself.
Bang, 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 bang. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy joins us. We already gave our thoughts on the Cowboys not sticking up for Andy Dalton. Uncle Jimmy, I hear you got an opinion as well. Take it away, Unc.
Wiley, I don't know what part of Compton you from, but they need to revoke your pass ASAP.
From the side, you
See,
wouldn't come through,
this
homie.
right here is what Mike Tyson was talking about when he told you in Vegas, when he said that the way you talk is just purely ludicrous. It's just purely ludicrous. Hey, Acho,
What up,
back in your day when you and your boys went out, I'm sure y'all probably called it an entourage.
Yeah.
When me and my boys went out, it was called a posse.
Uh-huh.
Whatever the hell you called it, it didn't matter. The rules were still the same.
Facts. That's
We
facts.
all go in, and we do what? We all come out.
Come out. That's real,
All right.
huh?
Look here. Now let me tell you something. Even though exactly what happened is sketchy, here's what we know: the Dallas Cowboys went out. Some words was exchanged and a commotion broke out. The next thing we know, the Dallas Cowboys took off running out the club and left Andy Dalton laying in the middle of the floor.
Left them laying there.
Okay, look, man, I don't know if this is the new Dallas Cowboy mantra or what. All for one, one for all. We stand together up until one of us fall. I know if I was Andy Dalton, I'd cuss somebody to hell
Facts.
out as soon as I woke
That's
up.
facts,
You
huh?
okay? Hell no, I ain't okay. You see this big ass knot on my head? I hate.
All right,
Man, I
Piper,
wish
there
I'd
you
have
go.
never left
These
Cincinnati.
are facts.